All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you by PATRON Tequila. I'm Lance Armstrong, sitting beside JB Hager and George Hincapie. And FYI, there will be a fourth person on the podcast today, a special guest. We'll get to that a little bit later. We are talking about stage 13. Was not unlucky for Julian Alaphilippe. I mean, let's just get it out of the way. I mean, Patron of the day doesn't even begin to give this kid credit for what I'm speechless.
That was a rock star status thing.
I'm totally.
Yeah, we're all blown away by that performance.
Who would have predicted that? I don't think anybody would. As we said yesterday, keep the jersey, yes. Dominate the time trial, and I mean dominate.
We were predicting he'd lose 30 seconds or so. But
everyone seemed to think that.
Yeah.
By the way, I went and looked, and I know he was exerting a lot of energy and effort to win the polka dot jersey last year, and so he didn't care about the time trial. But not for nothing, he lost 4 minutes in the final time trial last year. So I know it's different, but I just can't say enough about his performance today. It was phenomenal, and now. We have to start having this conversation about is he I don't know, can he hold on?
I got my thoughts on that.
Go ahead.
Right now, or aren't we going to talk about other things first?
Well, just no, because it is the question.
Okay, so my view is, like you just said, we were all blown away by the performance today. Not only is he's basically riding away from the GC favorites on every steep climb there has been to date. He's just ridden away from them. He's not like surprise attacking. He's dropping them. And today, he rode away from them in the time trial. Mm-hmm. Not only did he put 6 or 7 seconds on Garrett in the first time check, he lost a little bit of time on the climb to Garrett, a couple seconds there, but put time back onto him on the downhill flat section running to the finish line.
Yeah,
which
from that second check to
the amount of power he's producing right now for not being a time trial specialist like Geraint Thomas. I'm thinking today's time trial was a see you in the douches move. And I have some views and opinions on why I think that, not only based on today's performance, but other.
So meaning see you in the douches, meaning he's going to hold on.
I'm thinking he can hold on.
Really?
Yeah. Today he made a huge statement.
I'll
elaborate.
I don't know about that, but this dude has just continued to surprise all of us. So I'm not going to argue.
I mean, everybody always talks about the power of yellow, and it's like for Alaphilippe, is it just? You don't know if it's going to be sustainable or if it's just one more day. I'm going to do the best TT. And he's just got to be cooked.
The last little pitch before the finish was 17%, really tight, narrow road. The way, and obviously he's French and we're in France here, but he was flying up that hill. I mean, imagine what he was. I can imagine. I know what he was feeling, right? Yeah. With your home crowd. It must have been an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10 volume-wise. I mean, he's got Mr. Mo.
Yep.
Mr. Momentum.
He does, and I don't see that going away anytime soon.
Well, before we get into a lot more of this stuff, because it's just, I know, I was saying yesterday it's going to be a boring second half. I've changed my mind.
Well, you were saying it today, trying to flip back and forth between the golf. And I'm like, leave this on. I need to see this.
I don't need to watch the guy who's 40th on GC do a time trial. And by the way, all these networks that show bike races, when the GC guys are out on the road, we don't need to see the guy who's in 40th crossing the finish line.
Right.
And we don't need to see him what he looks like when he's gone past the finish line, like behind him. Don't show that. Just show us the bike race. That's not the bike race. That's pack fill. Thank you. Today's show is brought to you by PowerDot, the most mobile, efficient, effective e-stim unit. You guys and gals saw yesterday. I had it on my shoulder. Worked wonders. Thing is still a little creaky, but I'm absolutely felt better almost immediately. Eric and his team over there are doing a great job. Eric, if you're listening, which I think you are, that text you sent me yesterday about that opportunity, I'm not going to say what it is.
That's going to be hilarious.
It is. I will walk to San Diego for that opportunity. Stay tuned on that. And also too, what they're about to release is the medical device. So this is the consumer advice that you can buy for $199 on powerdot.com/themove. But the medical device, just as this changed the consumer device, the medical device will change that field as well. So stay tuned for that. Our listeners get 20% off. Members get 30% off. Go to powerdot.com/themove. The buy code there is the move. Today's show also brought to you by Roka, R-O-K-A, now at R-O-K-A, Roka, on Instagram. Started in Austin, Texas, in a garage, by athletes, for athletes, a bunch of riders in the tour, rocking the shades. Dan Martin, Rui Costa, Magnus Cort Nielsen, a lot of guys on Direct Energy. They are also our reader sponsor. By the way, Jib, let me see yours, because Rob and crew, I know, but I can make these images.
Yeah. Sure.
Like, this is next level hipster, Rob and crew. I want that to bring down my age a little bit. Our listeners get 20% off their first purchase. By the way, too, sorry to keep going on. Hello.
Hat backwards for that shot.
Does it look cooler with a hat? I asked you how my hat game was. Better? How
better.
sick are these? The Move colorway, the forward arrow etched into the lens. By the way, the lens quality is the best out there. Go to roka.com/themove for 20% off your first purchase. All right.
Can you handle the pronunciation of today's start and finish city?
Oh, stage 13, Q Alain. Alain was at the house this morning actually watching the race with us. And he's going to pick a day that is like really French sounding, and he's going to come in and do it live in person.
Oh.
But
It's a nice
This
touch.
is a very complicated start and finish.
This is your French lesson of the day.
Po to po.
Po
Stage
to
14.
po.
Po to po.
P-A-U.
And we have another pronunciation lesson today.
Because yesterday we were talking about Rohan Dennis, and we're going to get into what we think is going on there. But his director gave some quotes yesterday. I was trying to pronounce this dude's name, and I was like, so this young lady who sent us the pronunciation last year for Primož Roglič.
Because she's Slovenian.
Yeah, she's from where they're from. I don't even know where Slovenia is. But she sent us Primož Roglič, which I now say correctly. This name, I don't think I'll ever
This
get
one's
right.
tougher.
Let's hear it.
Do you need to wear the headphones for that?
Yeah, I love it, because I love what she says at the end. It's just so funny.
Yeah, she's great.
Hey, Mr. Armstrong. Bahrain Merida sports director's name is Gorazd Stangl. We come from the same country. While your pronunciation may be shitty, your podcast certainly isn't.
Gorazd Stangl. Gorazd Stangl.
I love the way she called you out also.
Yeah, while your podcast... while your pronunciation may be shitty, your podcast isn't.
Oh, and
Love
now...
that. Gotta love
and that is from... Now I can't even... We will butcher her name. She's going to have to tell us how to pronounce her name.
God, send us another video of how you pronounce your name. Well, let me see it.
Can you see it? You probably can't see it on my dark screen. I know that's a big pet peeve of yours.
Oh my God.
Rusa?
No. That's an N, right?
Nusa?
Nusa
Zampunk?
Zapunk.
I don't know.
We need another video, Nusa. Hey, speaking of, I gotta, and we gotta get into what exactly happened today, because it just is awesome. But I just want to give the listeners and the viewers a little update on the competition here with George and myself and the preparation, and the training, quote unquote training camp that we're doing. This man.
Oh boy.
This is okay. We didn't ride very hard, and then we rode with our sons.
Thank you, honey. Love you too, babe.
And a couple hours later, I get first of all, I'm teeing off, and George sends me a picture of a glass of rosé and says, "Is it too early to start drinking rosé?" It's never too early to do that. And then I get this like an hour later, the man is down.
I got some good news from home, so I needed to have a glass of wine with the wifey. But yeah, I took a nap. Look, I'm not ashamed of naps. I think sleep is the key to longevity. So I try to get a good night's sleep at night and sneak in a 20-minute nap throughout the afternoon when I can.
And here's another thing that I have not talked to you about, George. But on your phone, you can instead of typing a text, you can voice dictate. Let's hold off on that one. That's just too good. You can voice dictate and it'll type it out for you. So we're on a ride with our kids. Home slice here grabs his phone and you hear the like ding. He's like, "Hey honey, can you put on some pasta for me?" Question mark. And I was like, "Really? Pasta? Really?" Bro.
So since we're taking the gloves off here, and you have the help of the We Do team, and this is your show, I have some things to pick with.
Oh,
Lance as
boy.
well. I believe he's taking this Muhammad Ali DNA stuff way too serious. The dude is walking around the house like this. Okay.
Oh wow.
Guys, I mean, look at this. He hasn't even shown us proof that he is in fact related to Muhammad Ali. Look how he's walking around the house.
That is
Really?
bro.
Who does that?
We do have boxing gloves at the house. I'll bust them out. Somebody send them to me.
Sorry to throw you off your game.
Yeah,
Should we
you
start
really-
talking about the stage again, or?
Well, I think we should talk about the stage. We should talk about this. Let's talk about this crash from Wout van Aert, who's
Yeah, that was-
one of the big up and comers in the sport, and also, as I read, is who Geraint Thomas had actually tipped him to win the time trial today. That was, of course, before we had ran into this buzzsaw named Julian Alaphilippe, but. The crash was spectacular. I mean, in a bad way. Like it's very. People crash into barriers on the outside. Mm-hmm. It's almost unheard of that you would hit them on the inside. That just shows you how hard he was pushing, how close he cut that corner. But it was nasty crash.
Yeah, short time trial like that. He's obviously taking big risks to try to gain every second he can on every corner. So today he cut it a bit too tight and unfortunately had a horrendous accident.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not. I never saw him get up.
No,
I mean,
he's out of
done.
the race.
He's done.
Yeah.
Man, that's a shame. And it is like you said. It's like you never see it on the inside. And I went back and looked at it a few times. There's banners hanging on the barriers, and there was wind blowing from the opposite side, which would push those banners out, and it probably just clipped a brake.
But I think he hit the barrier because you
Yeah, it
see
looked
the
like
whole
he hit
thing.
it.
The whole, they're all connected. So the whole thing, I mean, everything
Man.
moved. So it was.
Being the time trial specialist that he is, my guess is he had every corner dialed in his head, and this one he really wanted to cut it tight to that side of the barrier in order to hold speed coming out of the corner, and he cut it way too tight.
Speaking of taking risks, Julian Alaphilippe was, I know technically on the bike he's spectacular, but he was, there's no telling how much time he actually made up just in corners. He was.
And descending.
Descending, it had no break. He was super tucking.
Yeah.
Super tuck on the time trial bike. Imagine what I was thinking.
Yeah, and his position is not as dialed in as these other guys like Geraint Thomas and all that.
Not
and
nearly as arrow.
to be able to do that performance today, we're still just going to be talking about this for a while.
Yep. Also notice he had disc brakes on his time trial bike.
Yep.
You don't see a lot of that. None of the Ineos
Yeah,
riders had it.
you guys notice stuff I would never notice. And Dave and I were in here watching. He goes, "Oh, look, disc brakes on a TT bike. We hadn't seen that before."
No, and that's when the whoever's running the cameras there focused in on it, and I was like, wow.
Where that would help on
Corners. They're just-
time
the
trial
corners.
with
Downhill
downhill, downhill and corners
Yep.
and downhill.
Absolutely.
Pretty
Speaking
cool.
of equipment, we got to talk about Rohan Dennis, and nothing has officially come out, but we talked about it yesterday about his just almost immediate sudden abandonment.
Mm-hmm. And Johan addressed it on the other show.
Without comment, and so everybody's just sort of guessing, and now everybody's, I guess, trying to figure or learning that it's he's just not happy with the equipment.
That's what they're talking about, and we got some intel from his old team that he was able to borrow his old bike to basically get his exact same position on his new bike in the beginning of the year. So he did some testing. Position was exactly the same. With the same exact watts, apparently he's losing a minute over 40K.
I don't believe that.
That's what they're telling us.
I
So
think at this level,
we don't know if that's exactly why he stopped, but imagine going into a ride where you're thinking, if I go as hard as that, and this guy's time trial world champion, he's arguably the best time trialist in the peloton.
perfect course.
If he's
for him.
doing his watts that he's done and beating the best in the world, but perhaps because of the equipment, he's going to lose a minute with the same exact watts. that's got to be tough on your confidence and your mental game throughout the tour. So we don't know if that's why he stopped, but
I mean, even
it sounded
30
more and more
seconds,
like that could be a good
a
reason.
manufacturer would have a bike that's that slow.
Yeah,
And it's not like last year's bike is that fast. I'm sure it's fast, but it's really about making a bike that's that slow. If that in fact is true, well, you need to be in another business. Because at this level, that's like you're at F1 and you show up with a Citroen, a 1972 Citroen.
I mean, there's not that much range from one bike to the next to make it matter that much.
I would have thought
right?
the position is the thing that matters the most, but if what George is saying is true, it's shocking.
Well, I have a friend that raced cars for years, and he said if your sponsor is dog food, you eat dog food. It's in that, you know what I mean? Get on what's given to you and do it. Mm-hmm. That's what you're paid to do.
Yeah.
There's definitely some advantages on bikes out there these days. We've known that through our teams, that the studies we've done through our teams. So I just, like Lance said, it's hard to believe it's that much of a disadvantage, but if it is, I can see why he would be so disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
he's not a sorry, JB. He's a fiery character.
Yeah.
It's I don't really know Rohan, but my sense is that it doesn't take a lot to get him.
I mean,
get him going.
I'm trying to think of the right terminology. Like, does it boil down to being kind of a hissy fit, as we would call it? Like, my bike is not to my standards, so I'm not going to show up.
Listen, if the bike's a minute slower, bad on the manufacturer, but you're a professional athlete. You're paid a lot of money.
Yeah, there's
to
no
race your bike.
excuse to do
There
that.
is absolutely, it's inexcusable. And I'm not, and I would say this to Rohan, like you're in the Tour de France. You're paid to race in the Tour de France. The next day is the time trial. That's your specialty. You can't up and leave like that. That is completely unacceptable.
Agreed.
Now, they maybe not so much or at all today, but there was a time when you could have a custom-made TT bike, and they would logo it up with the manufacturer. Yes.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
They don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore. And now it's obvious that you're using somebody else's bike.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that done?
I did have that done.
I thought I remember that, but
yeah, I did have that done. Trek had this jalopy of a TT bike. I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work.
right. But having the riders on bikes that you can walk into your local store and buy is good for the sport. It's good for everybody.
Also, yeah. Speaking of bikes, Romain Bardet does a bike change.
Yeah.
In a 27-kilometer rolling time trial.
Where he had lost 50 seconds at the top of the climb.
Yeah, I mean, can somebody
Already.
help me with that logic? Like, what the director going? This is a really good idea. You're having a shit tour already.
Well, that's the same director that's calling for the ban of ketones.
We're going to get to the ketone thing. We're going to get to how everybody's stolen our stuff. Don't steal my stuff. But making a bike change on a course of just rolling, come on, that's
just not worth it.
Just indicates that they're not doing enough work on your time trial bike. If you're not able to do a climb of that nature in your time trial bike, then you need to do more work on your time trial bike.
I think I can beat. On that course today, I could beat Romain Bardet.
100% disagree with that, but okay.
I'm
1,000%.
1,000. Whoa.
1,000%.
No, I think I could.
You would cramp as soon as you got in your time trial position. You'd be like, I pulled neck muscle cramp. Look, you were complaining about your neck the other day about, I don't know what you did about golf swinging.
Shout out to Joey Roscoff.
Yeah, Joey did great.
Top 10, man. Good for him.
Southern boy. It's great to see him in his first Tour de
Where's he
France.
from?
He's from Athens. Lives in
really?
Athens, Georgia. Great family. He was on our team for a while. We used to call him the King. Great to see Joey up there in top 10 with the
King.
Tour de
What
France.
did he do to get that nickname?
He won basically everything we did. He won.
Damn.
He was super impressive, and got the call from Jim Makowitz saying that they'd be interested in taking him on the team. And for us, it was a huge honor to be part of his progression in the sport.
Can we pull up that one slide that was up for just a second? It's the fellow who sent us the what's that? What and Hardy thing? What's the first?
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, an old comedy duo.
And now he took it another step further with a
This
Dumb
kills me.
and Dumber version This is the ride into Aspen where the what is it that they would say? The something flows like
The beer flows like wine.
that, yeah. And they're freezing their ass off as they're rolling it up the valley. But this is next level.
This is next level. Keep them coming. This is great.
Keep them coming.
Joe Natoli was
Joe
the guy.
Natoli.
Yeah, that's
Thank
good.
you, Joe.
And I've got to say this: that jacket makes a pretty cool WeDo jacket.
I agree.
Maybe logo a little smaller, but it's kind of retro. And
Yep. At least
might
I'm
have to
driving.
get that in the store.
At least I'm driving.
George is riding bitch,
Yep.
Ooh. Wow.
as they
you
call
said
it.
that out loud.
That's what they call it in motorcycles, scooters.
All right. What else we got?
We did see something entertaining. We always talk about how Sagan is so entertaining with the crowd. Definitely a crowd favorite. On his TT bike today, up that climb that we saw near the
pulling a
finish,
wheelie.
he did a wheelie on his TT bike.
Wheelies.
Up there.
I've never done a wheelie. I don't know how to do a wheelie.
I can't either.
Can you imagine
Yeah,
doing it
on a
on your
TT
time
bike.
trial bike? That's a man who's comfortable on his bike,
Very.
right?
And how did the guy feel right behind him?
Right.
You know, I don't know if Sagan had just passed him, or probably not. He probably was
He's
catching
probably
Sagan,
Yeah. All the
just
guys
doing a
that-
wheelie up there.
The guys in the peloton are used to Sagan being a bit showy, so I don't think he was surprised.
And then also, before we get to some more slides that we have to show for the TV version of the show, we should talk about the gap now between Geraint Thomas and Egan Bernal.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I mean, this
I'm glad you
this
brought
sets
that
it
up.
in stone.
Yeah,
now, right?
we touched on it yesterday, like what that psychologically is going to mean within the team, not just for those two riders, but for everybody involved, right? The soigneurs, the mechanics, the entire staff, right? Now there's no doubt the notion of co-leadership is gone. It's over. Geraint Thomas is the leader of that team, and frankly,
But at the same time, now they're not leading; they're in second place, and they have to be aggressive. So they're going to have to use Bernal as one of their cards to play to try to put these guys on defense.
And so, how do they do that? How do they use?
They're going to
Bernal?
have to. They're going to have to start attacking instead of controlling. Like, well, I was watching the other day in the boring finish. Was that yesterday? That we thought that it wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. But you saw 8 Ineos guys in the first group controlling the race as if that they were going to take over the yellow jersey today. So we're watching that thing. This is going to be a boring tour. It's over. Today, Alaphilippe threw that all on the rails. He won the time trial. Like Lance said, dominated the time trial. They have Enric Mas in 4th place. And they have the whole peloton pretty much sick of seeing the behemoth, the bad guys, Team Ineos, dominating the peloton with the biggest budget in all of the peloton by a ton. In my opinion, they're going to start getting some help from some of the smaller teams, the smaller French teams, and going, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing a different winner of the Tour de France. So this is why I think Alaphilippe has a true shot now of winning the Tour de France.
That's interesting. I can't disagree with that, with any of that. We don't know what. We'll see what happens, but you got a point.
I mean, Thomas is the man. Is Bernal more of an effective tool by doing attacks that other teams have to go chase?
No, for sure.
Or
for sure he is.
sitting there in front of Thomas, pacing him.
That's their strength now is that they're the strongest team in the bunch, Team Ineos. So they're going to have to send guys up the road. They're going to have to put Tekunik on the defense. Tekunik doesn't have as many climbers as Ineos does. They're going to have to try to isolate Alaphilippe, isolate Enric Mas. So that's where I'm thinking perhaps Tekunik will find some friends in the peloton when Ineos starts throwing the fireworks at them.
Yeah. Well, before we get to let's we have a couple more things to touch on before we get out of here. But a little bit more business. Today's show is also brought to you by Amp Human. They've got the new cream that we talk about quite often and we use every day is the sodium bicarbonate cream, which buffers the enemy of all endurance sports, a.k.a. lactic acid. These guys are onto something, man. I'm telling you, nobody believes that it works. Like when I give it to somebody, they're like, eh. And then they go try, and then it never fails. They call and go, dude, like, I felt different. I mean, it's incredible what it does. And not just, us slappers out here using it, but both teams in the Super Bowl used it. Both teams in the Stanley Cup used it. Some of the fastest marathons of all time have been using it. but not just the tip of the spear. Everybody can use it. JB, you've been riding. You ought to be using it.
No, I am using it, and
Well, there you go.
I don't feel as sore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can feel that difference when I'm off the bike, just walking around. I don't have the soreness in
And
my
we
legs.
used to try to, sodium bicarbonate's no secret. We tried it back in the day, just orally, and it was, the stomach
Kind of tough on the stomach. Yep.
tough on the stomach, and so this, transdermal absorption is a game changer. So for our audience, you get 25% off. Go to amphuman.com. Buy code is THEMOVE for 25% off.
Hopefully you didn't just get it banned.
Well, we're going to get to this. We're going to get to this, how silly cycling can be when you start talking about the best of the best and the methods used. And we're not going back to that, but let me get into it, because it's really, really, really pissing me off. Okay? Show today is also brought to you. I've had way too much of this morning. I am fired up.
I'll grab one myself.
Yeah. So the show today is also brought to you by High Brew Coffee. This is the new one. 11-ounce can, the triple shot. 3 times the amount of caffeine. Pure caffeine. Not junk caffeine. This is pure caffeine. Out of Austin, Texas. Cold brew for those who do. 6 different flavors in the smaller can. I love this stuff. For our audience, go to highbrewcoffee.com, and the buy code there to get 20% off is 20THEMOVE. High Brew Coffee, cold brew, brewed for those who do. So let me just keep going, okay? The other day we talked about the use of, and we talked about it specifically with Julian Alaphilippe, but with the possibility that they are utilizing ketone esters. And we were just having a natural conversation. What ensued, which I don't blame the other outlets that cover. Look, we get information from the internet, we get information from the networks, but after we talked about it, everybody started talking about ketone esters.
Mm-hmm.
I had never even heard of them prior to this.
Well, and I inaccurately said that they are the third fuel source of this one particular product, and actually lays it out here in their literature. Well, where was it? Hello.
Is it this is what you would buy from?
Yeah, you would, but
Okay.
so in this literature, ketones are the 4th fuel source. You have fats, proteins, and carbs, and ketones, right? So, all these articles have come out. Julian Alaphilippe is doing what he's doing. The talk of certain teams buying $100,000 worth of this product just for the tour comes out.
Well, to break that down a bit, though, each drink is what,
it's
$30,
expensive.
$40 a drink.
Look, it's
8 riders.
It's like
team,
anything that's been developed.
21 days.
Recently took a lot of money to develop. Taste was awful and price was astronomical. So prices come down, taste has improved. It's still expensive, but now you're calling for these people. These people are like, we don't think this is correct. We don't think this is fair. Right? Vincent Lavenue, the director of AG2R, says it's not an equal playing field. You can go to thefeed.com and buy ketone esters.
Right,
Which part
right.
of that is
Right.
okay? What next? No more protein.
No more amp-human.
No more fats.
No.
No more carbs.
No gels. No more
I
gels. in
mean,
the
it
races.
is. This is where it's like a dog chasing its tail. Just stop, okay? It's not illegal. It's not banned. It's anybody can go on the internet and buy it. Well, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
It's silly. You guys don't have a comment? I mean,
No.
Hook a brother up.
I
We got
mean,
the man fired up, obviously.
no, and I'll give you another analogy, because earlier in the show I compared something to car racing, and the science and technology of auto racing translates into what we drive as consumers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Better technology. It's gotten better and better and better because of that. And I think of situations like this, you hear about it. What are these guys using to help them be better athletes? And then you trickle down to the consumers, where it's a 50-year-old who wants to ride and feel like they did when they were 30, right, or 25. You just there's all this science and technology that's going to help us, this whole generation, live longer, be active longer, active after 70.
If I'm Vincent Lavenue, I would quit complaining about ketones, and I would start making better decisions for my GC rider, a.k.a. a bike change on a 27-kilometer rolling time trial.
Yeah.
I mean, you focused on the wrong things, Vincent. Seriously.
Well, like we've all discussed, I mean, the training, nutrition has evolved so much more than our day, where they're knowing exactly what they're putting in their body, the exact amount of fuel that they need for the next day to recover, the exact amount of glycogen they have in their muscles the next day. I mean, I believe this is just another evolution in nutrition.
Yeah. Should we do the contest before we talk about tomorrow? Tomorrow's going to be exciting.
Yep.
I'm disappointed that they're going up that side of the Tourmalet. Nobody asked me what we should do, obviously, but it's a short stage, which I think is the X factor. But before we get to that, let's do our RoadID contest. And as I said at the top of the show, special guest here to help us get through the contest, a certain Max Armstrong.
Making his debut on the podcast.
All right, debut performance, Max. Here you go. Oh, goodness. Okay, buddy, you got it. Hang on. There you go. No, you got to talk into the mic. There you go. Okay, here we go.
All right, it's time for today's daily dose of RoadID Tour and Trivia to play head.
Hang on, that's a period right there. You got a little
Oh my
pause.
God.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. To play.
To play, head over on roadid.com/France. Today's question: who was the first cyclist to win the yellow, green, and polka dot jersey in the same tour? Go to roadid.com/France to answer this question and score a chance to win today's daily prize, a Garmin Edge 830. One lucky winner will even take home a $10,000 BMC shopping spree. Again, that's roadid/France. .com/France.
Okay, and here's the four choices. And
Crit.
again, who was the first to win yellow, green, and polka dot?
Chris Froome, Eddie. I have no clue. Jesus.
Try to say it.
Marks,
There you
Hey!
Miguel Indurain,
Very good.
go. Okay.
and Jack Anquetil.
There it is. Good job, buddy. You got a future in podcasting, Max.
And I know we're going to jump into tomorrow. We haven't really talked Patron of the day. I think it's pretty obvious. So
There's never been. I mean, maybe Vanderpool, the performance in Amstel Gold Race. That was next level. This is that kind of performance, right? This is, and as I said about Vanderpool, when I watched that race in the spring, I said I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, and I keep hearing them
Same today.
Yeah, say on TV that, we're going to see how he climbs. Well, shit. Haven't you seen Plage de Baptiste and the other days where he just rode away from his competition? He's climbing probably in the best of the peloton right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you add it up, the differences at the finish lines, he's the best climber. But it takes these efforts, including today. I mean, today, a hard TT like that just takes it out of you. And then, bam, straight into the Pyrenees tomorrow. I don't know.
The team is the biggest factor right now.
It comes
his
back
form
to
is
bite.
there.
It just has to. But I keep saying that, and he keeps doing what he's doing, and so I'm gonna stop saying it.
Yeah.
But we'll
I'm
see tomorrow.
stopping.
Tomorrow's gonna be exciting. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna even get up a little early for tomorrow.
We should talk about like our GC winners and losers today. Don't you think?
Well, we can. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly. I think we've stressed Geraint Thomas and Alaphilippe are big winners.
Yeah.
Stefan Kreiswick. We said the other day, you gotta keep that name in the conversation.
Richie Port had a great ride.
Today he proved
No.
that he can actually one day win the Ironman.
I don't agree with that. I think Richie Port did a great ride. I think
sooner he can go do that.
Pinot. I mean, where did he come from? All of a sudden, these French guys are time trialing.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, you start to realize how big of a mistake it was to be caught in the back in the crosswinds. I mean, these guys are. It's unfortunate for us because it would change the whole complexion of the race if they were on same time that day.
Yeah.
But
Fulsang had a pretty average day. I mean, he's got 12th place, good ride, but not compared to Pinot and Kreiswick and Port, his true podium competition.
Mm-hmm. Big losers, Bardet,
Quintana, Bardet.
Quintana. But Quintana's not. We didn't expect.
No, we didn't expect him to be up there.
But to win a big tour, you gotta improve.
Bernal.
Bernal, more than a minute 20 to
Minute
Geraint Thomas.
35
Minute
to
36 to
Alaphilippe.
Alaphilippe.
Yep.
That's bad day.
Bad day.
Off day. And then tomorrow, man, 117K.
You get your mountaintop finish that you like?
74. I was just looking at it. I mean, the problem with this side of the Tourmalet is it's not very steep. There's some pitches at the end that, as you'll see, are black, which means it's greater than 9% here at the end. But all this is just, we've ridden this, zillions of times. It's just big, wide road.
Yeah, it's a big, wide road.
Big, wide road, good pavement, big swooping, soft switchbacks. It's not that tough.
But it's going to be
Short day, though.
Short day. It's going to be super aggressive. It's time for Ineos to start taking time back or try to. I think we'll see a ton of fireworks tomorrow. It's going to be a very, very tough finish.
I agree with you.
Do you guys have predictions?
And it'll be really hard since it's such a short day, and there's only 45K to the first climb. It's going to be really hard for any kind of significant breakaway to go. I don't see it happen. It's going to be the winner's going to come from
The favorites.
Yes. Tomorrow.
I agree with that.
Wow.
I agree with you. And I
Thank
also
you, Lance.
so first major mountain day, legit. Planche de Belfi was legit, but this is an iconic climb.
Yep.
You have a Frenchman in yellow, in France, on a Saturday, and I just checked the weather: 71 degrees and sunny.
Oof.
We haven't. I'm gonna make a prediction. We haven't seen crowds like this in a long time.
Yeah.
This will be a fun one to watch tomorrow. Am I the guy that said the second half is going to suck?
Yes, you were.
I am.
Yeah.
And I say things, I hear myself say things. And then I'm like, God, you're an idiot. You're just contradicting yourself. But I'm all of a sudden, I'm super
Lance
excited.
3.0. Here we go.
Hey,
Well,
baby.
This is the difference. We're seeing it
On the
unfold
ground.
live
My
on
feet
our
are
show.
on the ground.
But every year
like
they talk about changes they've made to animate the race, and some of them have been laughable, like the grid start. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that was one and done.
Right. So there's kind of this history of, oh, sure, you're going to animate the race, but it's proven to be true this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
Do you want to predict a winner tomorrow?
I mean, at the rate Alaphilippe's going, well, fuck it. I'm picking him.
He's clearly going full gas till he cracks.
I don't really believe that, but I'm not betting against him, so screw it. I'm going to pick him.
I'm going to go with Quintana tomorrow. We got to see some action from Movie Star. We have to. We're close to Spain. A lot of pressure on the boys.
Landa, another GC disappointment.
Landa,
Time trial.
disappointment today. One of those guys will win tomorrow.
Okay. We've got some more slides that are a treat for everyone,
Okay.
and then Lance is going to tell you about the spar competition going on.
Yes.
But I love the listeners sending stuff in.
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here.
A dog watching the move.
Okay. Cool. Good dog. But it looks like he's got something wrong with his arm.
Yeah.
Can we go
Looks
back
like
to the
he's-
facial expression of the dog when Lance is on and then when I'm on? See if there's a difference. You see, he's kind of more excited there. See that tail's wagging a little bit. The tail's
It's a still photo, so I'm sorry. Okay. What else we got? Oh, how about this guy? Hello, flying an airplane, actually landing, ironically, in Austin, listening to the move. My man.
On a tablet, right there in the cockpit.
ATC is like, sir, we're hearing some voices in the background. That's cool. This is interesting. This is on, and this will absolutely guarantee that this image comes down in the next 5 minutes. This is a photo of yours truly. Look at those crowds. That was the TT in 2000 in Germany. It was insanity.
Okay, yeah, here's what's interesting about this particular image. This is on the Tour app.
This is the
official Tour app.
The official Tour de France app.
They put a picture of you up there.
And I always thought the world was round. And turns out it's flat. And they snow ski. They snow ski in the Bahamas. There's cheap bridges in San Francisco that are red, cost about $1. This one, my good buddy Jimmy Riccatello sent me this one today. So as most diehard fans know there's 21 switchbacks on Alpe d'Huez, and when you win on Alpe d'Huez, they put your name on one of the switchbacks. And so this is taken yesterday, I believe. Plenty of opportunities to either take it down or make a new sign without the name, but it's still there. 2001. With good company, Fausto Coppi.
No.
Man.
Very cool.
All right.
Now is the time to get involved in our spar competition.
Spar competition. We're close to. We've talked about it for a few days. The competition is going to start tomorrow. We're keeping it achievable, right? We want as many people to try to participate as possible. George and I have issued this challenge. Basically, we will ride for 10 days, at least 10 miles a day. Now, what I've not been that clear on is the dollar amount. This is a cool app, and inspired by my good buddy Ryan Holiday. The day that you don't ride 10 miles, it's going to cost you $10. So that goes into a pool. Whoever completes the challenge, 10 miles a day for 10 days, gets to split the purse, right? So a little bit like HQ, a little bit.
Oh, right, the trivia game. Yeah.
So, God, can you imagine if every time you had to tap out there, you had to pay? I'd be
right?
homeless. I would be homeless. But this is similar that way. But you can do it. We're doing it with cycling. Ryan, as I've mentioned, did it. His most recent challenge, which was the most attended or the most had the biggest participation of all time on that platform, was the minute you wake up, you cannot look at any device for 30 minutes.
I love that.
I mean, forget it. Like
I forgot to shut my ringer off today. That went out the
I don't
window.
make it 30 seconds before I'm looking at my phone. So it's just things like that. So we're doing a cycling one. What's our URL? Shoot fire. But or you can download the app too.
Now here's it's a brand new app, so it's only in iOS right now, but not for Android. I'm sure by next year we can do it with everybody.
Yep.
That's because it is so new. So if you search SPAR ! Right?
Yep. Lance.getspar.com to join the challenge, and we're just shy of the all-time number for people participating in a challenge, which was Ryan. So if we unseat my good buddy, I apologize in advance.
Well, I was looking at it this morning. There's already a chat thread going of all the participants, which is pretty cool.
People getting warmed up.
Right. And once it goes live, you will actually take a short video of your Strava or your odometer on your bike, whatever it is.
You got to prove it. You got to prove some sort of a GPS file or your computer or some sort of proof. So that actually kicks off tomorrow. Yep.
So, but we have a lot of Euro listeners who are listening late. You got to start tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure that out. I'm not gonna handle managing time zones.
10 days. 10 miles.
All
10
I'm
days.
doing is 10 days, 10 miles a day.
Yeah. Also, go check out the We Do shop. I know Higgs has been working like crazy getting photos of the new items, including.
Well, I can tell you who's working like crazy is Cassandra over at Mellow Giants. This poor girl. So she handles all our fulfillment. So when the orders come in, and it's got to be boxed up and shipped, and poor Cassandra, she is a saint, is just crushing it. But it's a lot. We're getting a lot of which we appreciate. But we appreciate it. I don't know about Cassandra, but
yeah, no, a lot of new stuff in the store. This is the new forward tee is what Lance is wearing, which I like. It's
tonal.
Gray, then the silver forward logo, and just a little bit of blue underneath there. It looks really good.
Colorblind people.
Yeah, or people just listening.
Listening, of course.
Yeah, got to remind yourself, like half of our audience is just listening to this. So
like
anyway,
the dude flying the plane.
Right. Well, he was actually watching too. It looked like, but anyhow, WeDo.team to check out the shop. All the new items in there. Send your questions, comments to Lance, George, Johan. TheMOVE at WeDo.team.
Any questions, or are we done?
We want to do a question real quick?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Because I know Johan's on the hustle today.
Okay. One quick question.
All right. This is good, and you guys are perfect for this. In 2009, roughly 10% of the peloton was made of Americans. Today, 10 years later, they're about 2%. There's been a lot to transpire in those years, but any idea what it will take to get a larger American influence in the tour? That's from Rich Jones.
God, I didn't realize we were pushing 10%.
We need a big American sponsor that wants American
Who
riders
wants to
in Tour de
sponsor
France.
George's team?
Yes, that wants to sponsor my team. We're lacking that. We have EF, but they brought one American to the Tour this year. We just gotta get some more American teams out there.
And it's just cyclical. Like I mean, I'm sure that there are other factors that have contributed, but it's just the way that it is. I mean, certain countries have their era, and then it goes away, and then it comes back, and so I hate to say it, but you just kind of have to hurry up and wait.
Mm-hmm.
It'll happen, no doubt. The sponsorships will happen. That number of 10%, I think, eventually will happen.
Well, I think you've described it before. If you're a kid and you see someone from your home country on TV winning, that's when you go out and get on your bike and think, I want to do that.
Well, I mean, then let's find the American that can win the Tour. I mean, that's what sports does. Look, George jokes with me every day or gets mad at me daily the last 2 days because I'm going back and forth between the Tour and the Open in Northern Ireland, and so Tiger's going to miss the cut. Okay, so here you have day 1 viewership numbers, day 2 Tiger's playing first. He's going to miss the cut, so he's not going to play days 3 and 4. You watch the viewership numbers. So that's you gotta have the guy. So,
all right. But the development comes from teams like yours, George, that are right sponsors, and then comes the team, and then comes the talent development.
Correct.
Yep.
All right.
Ask Johan. That's a good question for Johan too. Even though it's a question about Americans, I think he'll have an interesting.
Well, it's funny. It came up on the show with Johan early in the Tour. Someone said, "Why aren't there Belgians in the Tour?" Because they're better one-day racers. And look, we've had 4 Belgian wins, and so that's going to start that cycle again, right? So anyway, send those questions for Lance, George, Johan, themove@wedo.team.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.